Welcome back to this Let's Play of the original official campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2. Last time we arrived kind of in the endgame area, and we're probably an episode or two away from the final boss. I'm still a couple spells short of having cast everything, and here's one of the spells I'm missing, Etherealness. Etherealness is actually much better than Invisibility 10-foot Radius, which it has some similarities to, and both are sort of cloaking spells which are affect more than just the caster. The only disadvantage to trying to cloak your way through things, well, in this case, it's because they have a fear radius. But the other thing is that there's no way to turn off the attack of opportunity function, so your companions will actually just make attacks of opportunity when they get the opportunity, and that will break the invisibility. And so you're trying to sort of sneak your way through areas is really almost completely crippled by the AI being a little too bloodthirsty, and there's not any way to really turn it off. I'm just eating damage from traps here right now. So we have shadows all over the place. Let's throw some light on the subject. As you can see, a lot of them are now sort of wandering around looking kind of, just not even attacking. I believe shadows can actually be blinded, which is kind of ironic, actually. But oh, hey, look, a Shadow Priest, an actual mortal enemy. I think one of the last few in the game. Now, up on the other side here is a Lich we're going to have to scratch, so I'm going to cast Greater Spell Mantle. The various Spell Mantles are essentially identical. The only thing that differs about them is the number of spells that they absorb. And Greater Spell Mantle is, it's sufficiently powerful that, well, it does in fact get around a lot of things. Alright, there's our friendly Lich. And I'm going to throw Mordenkainen's Disjunction at him. And Mordenkainen's is essentially the super dispel magic. There were some bugs with it at first, as far as being able to actually target individual enemies, and I don't know if they've actually fixed those. It's mostly a PvP tool, because it is used to get around essentially other people casting lots and lots of defensive buffs. It's the only dispel that'll actually affect high-level casters, since your ability of your spells to be dispelled is based on your level. Shades is another spell that is essentially, if you use it to scroll from inventory, it's much better. It actually casts... The Shade self casts Premonition, including other buffs, and it's actually important from that standpoint because it is the only way for someone with Divination as an opposition skill to cast the spell of Premonition. And Premonition's not what it used to be, but it's still a useful spell. And it's really the only high-level divination spell that's useful. So if you're playing a character who's an actual specialist wizard, it's well worth specializing in Necromancy, because Necromancy's opposition scroll is divination, so you get bonus spells for being a specialist wizard without actually having any significant loss on the spells you know. I guess you also lose divination, but, well, identify. But identify's not that important. these Shadow Mastiffs here, aside from being weak as paper, are actually summons, so there's no much point in actually killing them, just kill the guy that summoned them and they go away. It's one of the few actual times that enemies use summoned monsters, and unfortunately at this point in the game, trying to use something like this banishment is really, I mean, against, to get rid of a Shadow Mastiff, not worth it. Uh-oh, and it looks like someone over there is operating without proper core containment. Yeah, it's a bunch more Reavers. And, well, examine. This is a Shadow Reaver. Well, thanks. Anyway, I'm gonna try to rest up again and prepare for this big fight. The only unusual buff I cast, in addition just to really just pulling out all the stops, we have things like recitation up already as well. But the unusual one I cast is this Foundation of Stone. Foundation of Stone is a level 1 druid spell, and it's really the only way, other than just items that have the property, to get immunity to knockdown. And I've cast it as a persistent spell just for the fun of it. You'll see why in a second.
Ah, we have been expecting you. Our master is ready to emerge on this plane. All that he required is what you brought with you. You have served your purpose in coming here, but you do not need to keep living to fulfill that purpose, I think.
Is it a special purpose? Well, maybe not Naven Johnson's special purpose. So one of these guys is a... Oh, I missed with him the attack. Oh well, I'll have to try Shadow Swing Block him again. One of these guys is a weapon master, the other is kind of mage types. But essentially, the as you can see here, they are immune to knockdown. Is a substantial benefit because they are literally spamming knockdown. I think it may be one of those cast when hit type of effects, but now that we have one of them kind of circled and just dying, should be dying, I'll have Jero start in on the name recitation. And these fights, of course, take a little while because you have to wait for recite. Well, in this particular case, you have to just recite 3 names. But the enemies aren't that hard as long as you're not getting constantly knocked down. Though I will have Casimir chug down a potion. There's one. May as well get started on reciting the true name. Now, one of the important things is to pull back for this fight, and actually fight them back here. Otherwise, you're fighting them in this narrow corridor, and it just does not work. And you essentially have to fight them one-on-one instead of 4-on-1. You can try and go beyond 4-to-1 and have everybody summon stuff. It's generally not. It's just there's just too many things in melee. For Storm of the Here, for the LP group I used there, where I had sort of a very melee light group, really, that was more than capable of attacking at distance, it was much less of a problem, and I could just, summon things. The summons were just meat, more or less, to get in the way of it, of the enemies. But here I do actually have to be able to get them. Though in this particular case, I think we're probably at the limit of the number of people who can be in immediate contact, which is one of the advantages to being an Eldritch Knight, is that if you have that sort of tactical flexibility, if you can't get into an to attack an enemy, you just cast spell down. Albin's got nothing on these guys. There's a Swedish kid who his parents decided to give him some 240-letter long name that involved some very unusual characters as a sort of expression of insanity? Protest? I don't know. But the government apparently disagreed, and the kid was referred to as Albin. So, Shadow Reavers, you have some friends, I guess. Through this door here, actually, is an unusual little transition where we're going to have, in fact, our entire party join us. And I mean everybody. And when I said all your party members, yeah, they actually put everybody here. I'm not going to bother to gain Korra's level. You'll understand why in a second. You have to make sure that all your party members are actually equipped here. I have a huge army. I mean, I have, I think, 10 characters in my party right now. And I'm not going to further inflate that with summons, though I have cast some basic buffs just to get things through. I don't really want to mess around with it too much. There's one slight disadvantage to having all these people, is sometimes you have to use the keyboard to get out, because the walk command doesn't work properly. Looks ominous.
I kept holding on, waiting for you. I knew you'd make it here. I knew it. It's all that kept me going.
Know that I shall attend to her wounds.
Okay, well, it's good to have Nishka back, because can't actually cast Greater Magic Weapon on her, even though she needs it, but oh well.
Garius, he tortured me, trying to get me to turn on you. But we can't stay. We need to get out of here.
Watch out!
Ah, Garius. I thought I heard the shadowy slithering.
So, you have made it here. I am impressed. But really, what did you think coming here would accomplish? You have done much to disrupt our war efforts, but you will answer for it, and you alone.
Why is he telling Sand that? Oh, I think he's supposed to be talking to me. Oh, yeah, there's some of this conversation which is really just badly done. I mean, that their writing is not understandable. If you can figure it out, but we'll get to a whole long conversation that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense next time, because we're out of time. So, next time, the final showdown. Well, the semi-final showdown.